That's done. Don, we got an interview. Hang on.
Hi there. How you doing, pal?
A few minutes.
That kind of leads us into this, anyway.
That's great. You know, we did a PBS show last week, 2 weeks ago. A PBS show. One of those shows where they raise money for like KCET, you know, they think.
Right.
Were you going to ask me about? You were going to ask me about that.
About everything. Well, we're going to talk about everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Backstage with Fred Cooper, and sorry I've lost my voice, but here I am with Abe Most, one of the finest band leaders that we have today. Abe, good to see you.
That's very nice to hear that. Thank you. Nice to see you, Fred.
But you've done so many things around town. So many of our people know. You know, I was amazed because when I first met you a few years back, and they said, "Oh, Abe Most," and I said, "I don't know Abe Most." These folks knew Abe Most. I was amazed that you played a lot around here.
Well, don't forget, I'd been in the studios for 22 years, and I came off a jazz scene with Tommy Dorsey, Les Brown, and bands like that.
You played with them?
I played with them. I was a jazz clarinet player. When I was offered the job at 20th Century Fox, of course I took it because that's a steady gig.
Sure.
And so was the others, but this is a steady gig where I can raise my family, buy a home, and all that. So I did that. Then after about 22 years, when things started to sort of settle down and evaporate, I still worked the studios, but they no longer had the contract orchestras. So I got back into jazz a little bit and formed an orchestra again, and that's why some people have heard of me. So that's why I'm here tonight, because some people have heard of Abe Most doing Benny Goodman or Artie Shaw or any of the other clarinet players which we used to do on Time Life Records, which was a big project.
You did all of those?
I did all those clarinet players.
Did you really?
On Time Life, long time back.
You did the Dorsey then?
I did, with the Dorsey, I did everybody, all the clarinet players. Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Irving Fazzola, Stanley Hutchinrider, Irving Hutchinrider, no, something like that. But all those, Woody Herman, you name it. I did all the clarinet players. So I had to study them, find out where they breathed and where they did what. So it came out that I learned everybody's style. Now I don't know who Abe Most is. Now, a lot of people tell me, when are you going to play like Abe Most? Well, tonight I'm going to sneak some of that in. It's supposed to be Benny Goodman, but some of these people won't know when I'm playing me. That's mine.
The music of Benny Goodman tonight.
This is a tribute to Benny Goodman.
Tribute.
And we've
Where
had
did you grow up?
in New York City.
And how long ago were we talking?
Oh God, we're talking about. I started clarinet at the age of 9, which was 1929.
29.
Yeah, I'm now 77.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm still going to play clarinet until I'm.
Super.
Oh, thank you.
Really
Well, I try to keep up, and I
in
try
fact, 2 nights in a row now I had Herb Jeffries here last.
Oh,
Thursday. And, you know,
he beats me by a long shot. 80. What is he?
87, 86.
86, yeah.
Going to be 87.
And we play golf together.
Do you really?
Yeah, I go out and he hits the ball.
Maybe that's
86 or 87.
Maybe that's it. You
Golf?
guys out there golfing? Hey.
Well, I don't play that often, but once every week or two. That's enough, but you got to keep ready, get ready to go out and play. But he's a fabulous, wow, and a great, we went to Australia together, Herb and I. Herb and I and Art Lund, do you remember Art Lund?
Yes. Oh, yes.
He's passed now.
Right. I had him here just before.
Yeah.
In fact, once.
Another great guy.
Yeah. Okay, so you grew up in New York City.
And moved to Atlantic City for a while, went back to New York City, learned how to play at the age of 9 in Atlantic City, started one clarinet, then I went to alto saxophone. And in those days, you had a double meaning you play more than one instrument. So I started on clarinet, picked up the saxophone, then I picked up the flute in the Army, the big war, 1942. I learned how to play flute with a lot of friends. And from that, I went to 20th Century Fox, because before 1942, I'd been playing with the big bands of Tommy Dorsey and Les Brown, and a lot of other bands, intermediate, and my own groups. And then when I came out here, I just, after the studio, we wandered around doing some small band things, big band things. And now it's just relaxing. Whenever anybody wants Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, I can do both.
Here I am.
Who do you want tonight?
Yeah, right. Tell me, let's look back at the big band time. You know, we see movies about guys in six guys in a car driving to the next gig, and do you remember those days?
I remember it. I used to do them with Enoch Light. Remember the name Enoch Light?
Oh, yes. Okay.
And the Light Brigade?
Right.
That was, each band had a jazz band within it. Tommy Dorsey had the Clambake Seven. Bob Crosby had the Bobcats,
Is right.
and a lot of people like that. And Enoch Light had the Light Brigade. I was with Enoch Light for a few months and played with the Light Brigade. Then we were supposed to go to Georgia or someplace, and he had a bad accident on the way that wiped out the band. He didn't get killed or anything. As a matter of fact, he came back and became a big record executive producer. But that band was very nice for a while. I learned quite a bit on that band.
Did you play in the Army?
Oh yes,
Or
I was at the
You were
the.
in combat?
No, I didn't get the combat because we were doing our home, let's say, call it homework for the people at home with the Army Air Corps Band, which was stationed in Santa Ana. So I was in the Santa Ana Army Air Corps Band, which was tough duty, 3.5 years of really tough stuff. But we did 4 shows a week for the people back home.
Yeah.
We did Hello Mom, da 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 da, how you doing Mom, you know, and all that. For all the people who are back home.
Did you do the stage or canteen or any of those things?
Oh, sure. Well, I didn't do the stage or canteen. I remember dancing at the stage or canteen.
What was the thing on television where, the GIs would ask for their favorite person to do a song, and it was a GI thing. I forgot the name of it.
Well,
I see it on PBS. A lot.
Well, in Hollywood, there was a place which was an area where the GIs could come to dance to the dance bands, and all the little starlets and stars would come to dance with the GIs because this is their bit for humanity. And I remember dancing with a couple of the big stars at the time. Boy, I was the corporal at the time and dancing with, I forgot who the stars were, but there were stars, boy, I knew.
When did you go to the studios?
That was in 1950.
And
Before
you were there
that,
for 20?
22 years.
22 years.
I was playing all the different instruments, all the clarinets, all the flutes, all the saxophones, and that was quite a time. It's
now the big bands in the studios are kind of going away, right?
Yes and no. The trumpet player Bob Summers here reminded me of a date we did about a month ago. He said there was a dance scene in one of the Batman and Robin. The picture of Batman and Robin, the cartoon, was recently shown, and Bob was a trumpet player on it. They called me in for one big band thing, like a Benny Goodman style. So I played the one thing, and he said he heard it. He just told me that he heard it the other night. It sounded great. But I did the one shot. The rest of it was all classical legitimate orchestra, which means strings and French horns and you name it, and brass, no saxes. The only sax date was the one I did, with clarinet and about 6 saxes. So those are isolated incidents of when you get to play big band stuff. When I was at the studios, the big band was an integral part of the complete orchestra, which was anywhere from 55 to 80 pieces.
Did you show up every day?
Every day.
So you had a regular job?
I had a regular job, and it wasn't 9 to 5, it was just whenever they called you. But each orchestra, each big studio had its own orchestra. Paramount, Universal, MGM, Columbia, and Fox. And Fox is one of the better orchestras because I was on it. No. No, it was just one of the better orchestras.
Yes.
It really was. It was nice. Well, they all had great. Gus Pavona was an old friend of mine. He's gone now. Great clarinetist at MGM. So we used to have jazz clarinet players in all the different studios. They had great ensemble like big bands with which they would use to back, like in our case, Marilyn Monroe, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, all those big, heavy pictures.
Right.
We had our dance band right in there in the middle, plus the other classical legitimate things which we did as well.
Who was the best band leader you ever worked for? And
The
why?
best band leader.
Yeah.
Well, I'd worked for almost the longest time with Les Brown, but I've got to say the Les Brown was one of my favorites, but Tommy Dorsey was the class, because by then he had just quit drinking, and my wife and I were just got married 3 days before we went on the road, and that was her entree into big band life. We got on the bus, and 3 days later she said, "I can't take this. I'll meet you in the next town." So she almost, she didn't divorce me yet, but she said, "You can have the road. I'll meet you later." So I found out where she was.
What year did you play for Tommy?
1946, and it was a one year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Les Brown, how long?
4 years. In 1938 to 1940 to 40, almost 42, and in 1948 to 50, I went to Fox from Les Brown.
So you did a lot of Bob Hope stuff?
Few
Yeah.
in the beginning, but then they started to go overseas.
You still work for him?
Once in a while.
Yeah.
Once in a while. I not personally, but with the band.
Yes, I meant.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
With the band.
With Les Brown?
Yes.
Rarely. Once in a while when he wants to do it.
The drummer I have that comes here every once in a while, he plays for Les.
He does. Jack Sperling.
Jack
That's the one we have, sure.
Oh,
He and I used to work with Les. That's why I bring him here.
He's super.
He's the greatest Gene Krupa advocate of all. That's why we bring him here.
You're going to do that tonight?
We're going to do it tonight.
You're going to go on and on?
I'm going to go on and
slow
on.
it.
We did that with Lionel Hampton just a couple of weeks ago in Palm Springs. We went on for about, I don't know how long. Well, we're going to do it tonight. I have to figure out how many tunes we can play tonight.
Okay, I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Because I know you have to dress.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring in this beautiful little girl over here
Oh, great.
and talk to her. How long she worked for you? A while?
Well, we did something here about, Judi and I worked here, 2 years ago?
Yes.
About 2 years ago,
Yes.
and she's wonderful. And you can get all the news from her, I'm sure.
Okay.
When you.
We'll be looking forward to,
Okay, Fred.
To playing this.
Thank you.
And let's get this off of here.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a sound check, please.
More than you know. And then I wrote, have you been?
I've been fine. How about you?
So cute. I'm fine too, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back right now with Miss Judi Wallace, who is the singer tonight with Abe Most, and they're going to be doing a lot of the big band things. Judy's been with us before, and it's just a pleasure to have you
Thank
back.
you. I love coming here. I love the audiences, and the staff is so easy and fun to work with.
The audience loves the music.
Well, they have excellent taste.
I know, they were there.
They were, a lot of them. Some people out there are like more than 50 years old.
No kidding.
Really, I noticed that last time.
50?
I'll be real.
Just barely, though.
A couple of them. Okay, there's a bug in here.
There is. Who you been working for lately?
Last night I was at Palm Desert at the big Bob Hope Cultural Center, the McCallum Theater, with Tex Beneke.
Were you really?
Mm-hmm. I started with him. He was my first big band.
Well, you still work with him a lot.
I
though.
do. And I work with Tommy Dorsey and Jimmy Dorsey bands. And I'm on the road.
Around anymore.
No, but I do have the pleasure of working under that umbrella with them. I do a lot of traveling with the Dorsey bands.
Do you?
Yes, and coast to coast in the Washington D.C. and Abilene and Atlanta and Seattle. There's a lot of work going on out there. Thank goodness. Do I have time to tell you a story?
Sure, go ahead. We've got all the time in the world.
Mr. Art Depew, a wonderful trumpet player,
Art. Yes.
who also
Harry James.
also leads the Harry James
Yes.
band. I work with him a lot, last night included, with Tex Beneke. And Art hires me for different things at different times. And a few months ago, he asked me if I was available on this date in May. And I looked at my book, and I was. I said, what is it? A big band job? He said, no, it's Dixieland. Okay. I put it in my book, and I got my little tambourine out. And I got my flapper dress, and I put it in the car. When I got to the gig, it was a high school. No, a nice high school, mind you, but it was Loyola High School in Los Angeles. And I'm thinking, Dixieland at a whatever, unpacked. Now I go into the theater where we're going to perform, and I see a disc jockey. Okay, they're setting up on either side of the stage these speakers that go to the ceiling. And I'm the first one there from the band, and I said, have I got the wrong place? He said, oh no. He said, you're on for 2 hours, and then I take over as the disc jockey. Now I'm looking out into the room, and I said, this looks like a prom. He said, oh, it is. They hired us for a prom. I said, there must be some mistake. Now I'm backing up. I'm getting the phone. I said, I've got to call Art. He walks in, and he said, no, this is what they wanted. I said, they're not going to like us. They're not going to, well, we get out the tuba and the banjo. You know what Dixieland is. And my song list. And the kids are coming in. Now, they're dressed to the teeth, please, you know, with the top hat and the canes, and they're so cute. Really well fit out. And they're kind of listening, but they're really getting together, and they're eating. And now they're starting to dance. Now it's the second hour. On the heads of my grandchildren, they're making requests. Things I know. They request that Beginning to See the Light, Sentimental Journey, Fever. Who knew? These are teenagers that wanted us to play their favorite songs, and they were our songs. I went nuts. Now, Art says, well, folks, boys and girls, he said, it's time for us to leave, but the disc jockey will be taking over. They're going, boo, boo. They wanted more of us. I was stunned, and everybody I've told this story to, oh, happy, yes.
Yes.
When I tell the story, they look at me as if my head just exploded,
No.
because they can't believe it really happened. I'm a witness. It's back to stay.
Do you remember, though, when Disneyland had all of the big bands
I was there many, many years.
Okay, and all of, who came? Kids.
The kids.
The kids. There were a few older people came.
No, but Carnation was crawling
Right.
with children.
Right, and then they dropped all the big bands.
I know.
If you took them back today, they would be there.
I know that for
They
sure.
would be there.
I know that some of my kids' best friends are in swing dance clubs, and it is a very hot item. And they don't just know our things, they want to hear them. They know all the lyrics to them. They're memorizing them and falling in love to them.
I sure wish all of that would come back.
Well, I'm
It
here to
was-
tell
it
you
was-
there's hope. That's why I'm here.
A grandmother.
A grandmother
A
of three,
grandmother.
that's true. I got 3 great, wonderful
Who else you
grandchildren.
been working with?
Let me see, Ray Anthony. Am I supposed to be name dropping here?
Yeah.
I don't mean.
I want to know. Folks would like to know who you sing with.
Well,
Besides Tex Beneke.
what's so fun, when I work with a Tommy Dorsey band, I get to do tributes to the other girl singers. I get to sing Helen O'Connell songs, and oh,
been here.
really? Helen was here.
She like,
Wasn't she a treasure?
yeah.
That's what's
Really
some of the fun about working here, is knowing the other people that have walked the boards on this stage.
I've had a lot. I've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate through the years to have seen many of the greats.
Certainly.
And they, you know, it's a loss when they leave us.
I know. Well, now last night,
you're going to pick it up and bring it on.
I'm
That's all.
carrying the torch.
That's it.
Last night also on the bill were the Modern Airs and Buddy Ebsen. So it was somewhat of an all-star cast, and Buddy did his little saxophone thing and a little soft shoe. He's just adorable. I mean, to think that I shared the stage with Alan Copeland from the Modern Airs, one of the original Modern Airs, on this side of me taking a bow, and on this side was Buddy Ebsen, who danced with Shirley Temple. I'm sorry. Who knew I'd ever live this long? I was very, very happy. I'm very blessed.
It is. You know, and it may sound corny, but I'm starstruck when I meet so many of the
I
people
am too.
that I've seen for
I am too.
many years. In
I
the
never get over
movies.
it. It never gets I never become
Don't either.
blasé. My heart
either.
just jumps when I realize not only where they've been, but who they still are in America,
Sure.
what they represent.
And you, like you said, you get to carry the torch.
Well,
There's so many.
I'm really honored, and
Yeah.
I do not use that word lightly. This is an honor.
You do a great job.
Thanks.
You used to be with the Modern Airs.
I did. I was a Modern Airs for 4 years. I started my career as a singing waitress at the Golden Horseshoe, and then had a family. But then when I went with
Oh, did
big
you
bands,
Out of Disneyland.
at Disneyland at the Golden Horseshoe in the 60s,
Who was the
Betty Taylor,
No, who was
No.
the
Wally Bogue.
comedian? Yeah,
Wally
Wally's
Bogue.
still around?
I haven't heard from him in a couple weeks.
Couple of years.
Years.
Yeah, I used to have him here. I was looking
Oh.
for him, that's all.
He was in Florida, and then he's back. As far as I know, he might still be in Orange County. Well, call the park. Call Disneyland.
He told me he was going to Utah or somewhere
Ah.
to start something. This was many years ago. I'll call Disneyland. See if they know where it is.
Do. They can connect with him.
Yeah, they might. I didn't
Then
know you were the host.
I was there for 3 years as a singing waitress.
Hmm.
And then went to college and had my family. But when I came back, I went back as an understudy for the lead for Slewfoot Sue for several years. You know, that's the longest running live stage show in history.
No.
It is. Then they
Really?
changed it into Lily Langtree. So then I assumed that role. That was fun. And then when they closed the Horseshoe, I was back on my own again. So I was
That was a fun place.
Oh.
You know, I wonder
with
why
the
they...
can dancers and the
Yes,
live
yeah.
band. It was
Yeah.
Walt's. It was really Walt's favorite place. And that wasn't just because I worked there. He talked about his vaudeville. It was his piece of Americana, the original music that could not be replaced anywhere else. And now they've got Willie and the Hillbillies or somebody in there. And I'm sure they're wonderful. I'm sure they are.
What year did you go to work there?
I started in 1965.
Well, so in
Yes, I served Walt a Pepsi. I
did?
sang for Walt Disney.
Did you?
Yes.
That must have been a treat.
It really was. And you know
Okay.
what? That's really where it started, because some of the biggest celebrities in the business would come in. That was still in the mid-60s. Well, think about it. It was only 10 years old, the park.
Mm-hmm.
I sang for Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Please, give me oxygen. They're sitting right there looking at me singing. I was 18 years old. So I kind of cut into it early, and they weren't the only ones. It was an endless, I could name drop for days.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a kid and it's hitting you left and right every day, you come in and you say, who's on the guest list? Dick Van Dyke's going to be here today, and then tomorrow Shirley MacLaine is going to, and it never stopped. Lucille Ball, my treasured
Legend.
idol, yes. And to know that I sang for her, I'm happy. I was 18 and thought, I don't care if I ever do anything else. She's the best.
And here you are.
I'm
look at your
still,
work. See?
who knew that I could get this far? No, it's true. I'm so blessed to even still have a voice. But I'm really honored to work. And please, can I talk about these musicians for a minute?
Please do. Please do. Of course, I know half of them.
Oh, you're going to be
I don't know
listening
part of
to, well, some of the best. And if you, it sounds like a joke, but if you added up all of the years
Oh, right.
of experience on
Right.
that stage and all the names they've worked with,
Those guys started talking to me one night about who they worked
Mm-hmm.
with, and I was dazzled.
I believe it.
You know, I was
I am
just
too.
dazzled with. They don't look that old
No.
now, but they've worked with the biggies.
You bet they
the
have.
biggies.
A gentleman named Frankie DeVito is a drummer with.
I know Frank.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
I worked with him last night in Palm Desert, and we were traveling together in Sweden with Tex Beneke's band in 1991. And one of the Modernaires was just offhandedly talking about the first night he ever went to the Copacabana. He said he was, I think he was in the service, as a matter of fact, and he was underage. And he was so afraid he was going to get caught. He was on leave in New York, but he wanted to go to the Copa. It was New Year's Eve. And he said when he found out who was going to be at the Copa that night, he was determined to get in as a young soldier. He said, well, Frank Sinatra was there, and Joey Bishop, and Frankie DeVito's listening. He said, I played drums that night.
Is that right?
He was there. And here we are in a bus in
Yeah.
Sweden.
Yeah.
And they had shared a New Year's Eve together at the Copacabana, 45 years before.
Sure. Sure.
And you can't spend too much time with them without hearing things like that. That's such delicious small world stories.
I had an occasion when I first came here many years ago, and we had a Great Western Savings and Loan was going to sponsor a show. So one of the agents I worked with at the time said, I'd like for you to catch this group, and we went down to the Palladium, never forget it, to the Palladium. And here was the Modernaires, but it was Mama.
Oh, it was
It was
Paula
Mama.
Kelly. Oh,
And so they hired her, and we've had her here.
Paula.
And all I got in those days are stills, but
Yes.
I keep a lot of those.
Oh,
You
you'd
know.
better. Those are
Yeah,
treasures.
I know, because we've lost so many
I
good ones,
know.
haven't we?
When she was very ill and didn't even know I was there to see her one day when I went to see her a few years ago before she died. And her husband came in after I didn't know he was there. And he tells the story that he hears as he walks down the hallway in this hospital. He hears someone singing, "Down south in Alabama, way down south." And I'm in there trying to wake her up saying, "Yo, Paula," singing her songs. Tuxedo Junction. And he walked in, of course she's asleep, you see. And I was going, "Come on, Paula." Because she just wanted her to hear her own songs again. Oh, that's another, what a magnificent lady. And beautiful. And she had perfect pitch. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Perfect pitch.
Well, I'd like to go on, but we have a show.
Oh, was that tonight?
I thought we would
Oops,
start.
I have to go.
I didn't bring my watch, but it's...
It looks like it's close to the hour, isn't
okay, you
it?
going on like that?
No, I might change. Oh, and I might need some help zipping it up. Would you mind doing that?
Can't do that anymore.
No?
No, sorry.
I'm really looking forward to this.
My girlfriend's sitting over here.
Ah,
And
no more zipping.
I've quit zipping.
You look full of zip to me.
It's been joy just having you here.
Thank you. I love being here.
I know you'll be back with us, Miss Judi Wallace. Judi Wallace, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you
very much.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, see you later.